Hello, everyone. This is Adam Meister, the Bitcoin Meister, the Disrupt Meister. Welcome to the One Bitcoin Show. Today is November the 18th, 2018. Buy and hold. Strong hand, long-term thinking, unconfiscatable. Adam has hat hair because he was running around in hot Santiago with his hat. I mean, it's messed my hair up. I'm fussing with it. But no, appearances. It's what's in the heart, dude. That's the real thing. So who cares if the hair is going wild? Because you know what? Bitcoin is the apex predator. And today we have the apex predator of guests on. Oh, yes. Zack Voell is here. And welcome to the show, Zack.
Thanks for having me back, Adam. It's always a blast being on your show. Got a lot of fun stuff to talk about today.
Oh, yeah. Now, some of you might remember that Zack was on the This Week in Bitcoin show a few weeks ago, and he had to leave early. So I thought, why not bring him back on a Sunday, and we can just continue talking because he rocks it. So remember, check out the links below. Zack's link is below. You can find out all about him. Follow me at TechBalt, TechBalt on Twitter. And yeah, I had an awesome show with Trace on Thursday. So check out the archives, disruptmeister.com. The last few shows have been wild, and everyone's talking about the Trace show, and he talked about Bitcoin being the apex predator on there. So let's talk before we get into some of the drama that passed this week. Let's talk about some news that came out today or a few days ago about the Bitcoin ETF, or it's an ETP in Switzerland. And they say, this is linked to below, we plan on launching an index basket of this basket ETP first. It allows investors to simply buy the market rather than trade specific crypto assets, though we plan on launching specific trackers for each asset in the future too. So supposedly Switzerland green lights the world's first crypto ETF, even though it's a crypto ETP, whatever that is, and it's going to be a basket. It's not going to just be Bitcoin. So Zack, what's up with this stuff?
There we go. Yeah. It's a little bit odd and definitely risky bundling these sorts of very illiquid, very new crypto assets. Obviously, Bitcoin is relatively new itself, but obviously the oldest of any of these out there. And two notes, I guess. Given how new these are, the price habits of altcoins relative to Bitcoin are usually highly exaggerated in both directions. So when Bitcoin moons, as you say, altcoins go just 10 times farther. And when Bitcoin dumps, altcoins also go 10 times farther in the same direction. So when you're bundling all these together in a fund or the exchange traded product ETP, it's just very risky. And what ultimately ends up happening in this case is you'll buy the top of a bubble of a certain coin or the peak of a chart of a certain coin, and then it will just dump based on how this product is weighted to the top 20 or 30 or so market caps, which are always shifting. It's a little bit of a mess. So, all
right, I part of their bundle is Ripple. Ripple will be included in this. So that was when I first read, I'm like, oh, the first ETF ever. But then I'm like, well, what is this thing really? So again, in time, there's going to be Bitcoin ETFs. But let's see how this thing works out in Switzerland. Good luck to them. I also noticed that Ripple is now number 2 on the coin market cap list. Yeah. Which shows why some people. Well, yeah.
It shows how far we have to fall, I guess. I don't know. I mean, it's nice seeing some of these other coins fall off of their sort of high seat in the market cap ledger, but it's not. I don't know. Ripple being number 2 is definitely a new development, but like Ripple, EOS, Ethereum, and Bitcoin Cash for the past 6 or 8 months have been jostling around that position. I don't know. They're all a mess. Anything below number 1, just you don't even need to worry about.
I like that. Pound that like button. Apex predator. All right. So Yeah, Ripple, I think, shows this. There's still a lot of newbies in the space. I don't even want to get into that, but whatever. People want to mess with a centralized coin. Personal responsibility is the new counterculture, people. It's your,
It's your money.
It's this. That's what crypto is all about. All right. So before we get into well, we've all heard about this hash war of some sort of, among there's some altcoin had a hash war apparently, and people made a big deal out of it. Trace Mayer totally laughed it off on my show, which was awesome. But here's something else that's kind of funny. We hear about BABC, BSV, but how about this? On my show weeks ago, I mentioned Bstash. Oh yeah, Bstash is another fork of Bcash. And they actually reached out to me, and I retweeted something of theirs too. Here's what they sent me in an email. The war of hash rages on between ABC and SV as little known fork Bstash has exceeded BABC, Bitcoin ABC, total hash power as of Saturday, I guess the 17th at 3:58 p.m. GMT. Bstash surpassed the hash of BABC. Bstash is currently supporting a hash rate of 4.8 exahashes, while BABC is 3.75 exahashes. It is time to include Bstash in the conversation. We are no longer forgotten. All right, let's include him in the conversation. Apparently, they've merged mine with Bitcoin. Any thoughts on this, or do you think it's just hilarious?
I think it's funny. It's one of, as far as we know, very few fork coins that are merged mine with, I think, Z Classic or something is another one. But someone from blockchain news publication that I hadn't really heard of before, but browsed and thought was interesting. 30K, THIRTYK, reached out to me earlier this week for a comment on the hash war, which I'm not entirely sure why, but I guess they thought I was an authority on the subject. And they asked basically, what effect will this have on Bitcoin long term? The Bitcoin ABC SV hash war. And the answer I gave them is sort of what I'm going to reiterate now, that these chains independently have roughly equal potential to impact Bitcoin in the future, which is to say pretty much no impact whatsoever, besides maybe some interesting memes and a good laugh or something. But they have just an enormously small portion of SHA-256 hash power. The best way to think about them is just two billionaires sort of fighting over who's going to mine the most empty blocks. And I'm stealing that from someone's tweet, but I can't remember who to give them attribution. But that's how this hash war happened. These idiots just wanted to fork and ditch their old coin, which they thought was the real Bitcoin, and then create two more new, I guess, realer Bitcoins or something. And it's just a joke. But there is one good thing that comes out of all of this, the hash war. The only good thing that comes out of the hash war, which is something I saw a couple different people tweet, but I can't remember their names right now, and so I can't give them attribution, is that these two forks, Bitcoin ABC and SV, have only solidified that Bitcoin Cash isn't and never was Bitcoin. So the Bitcoin brand is strengthened because these two forks happened. And as much as we laugh at and meme about and chirp at on Twitter people involved in this hash fork, it's only solidifying the Bitcoin brand. Now, without question, Bitcoin Cash is not Bitcoin. Neither is Bitcoin ABC or Bitcoin SV. And we're left with a couple of moronic billionaires fighting over who can mine the most empty blocks.
Yeah, and it's nothing to worry about. Well, explain why we shouldn't worry either, because some people took all the bluster as this is a prelude to an attack on Bitcoin. That if they could do this to Bitcoin also.
Yeah, I think so. It's stepping back a minute from that. It's important to realize that the only reason we got in this place where we are now with these two forks, Satoshi's Vision and ABC, is because of the original fork, Bitcoin Cash. But obviously, after the Bitcoin Cash fork, by no means was that the last time Bitcoin was forked. In fact, it's impossible to know how many times Bitcoin was forked, given it's reasonable to expect a high number given sort of the point-and-click Bitcoin forking websites that exist now. But none of those forks have the same sort of political drama or cringe factor that all these other forks do. And there's a reason why. It's because forking itself is not a problem, but the Bitcoin Cash fork exploited, to your question, the most vulnerable attack vector on Bitcoin, which is not sort of technical exploits through merging bad code or miners' power over a particular chain, going specifically to the hash war, but it's social attacks, the branding battle that Bitcoin Cash is the real Bitcoin. So the only reason we're considering whether or not these two forks can attack Bitcoin is because of a fork that was very dissimilar from every other fork, in that it was trying to attack Bitcoin by stealing the brand name. So these forks in and of themselves have no power over Bitcoin, really, because they can't attack Bitcoin at its most vulnerable point, which is its social vector, because now the whole hash war has just relegated these two forks to utter absurdity, to the point which they have no power to socially attack Bitcoin. Bitcoin Cash arguably did at first. That was sort of the point. It can serve as a prototype for other similar forks in the future. But in terms of sheer mining power, and these two forks in particular, they're useless in any way, to like for good or for ill. There's no power they have to be a productive medium of exchange, that sort of network effect or network value that Bitcoin offers, and they have no power to attack Bitcoin whatsoever. They're totally useless, Adam.
Okay, yeah, and I understand that, but there are a lot of people that are thought like, well, he's got a billionaire backing up him, so they could have an attack on Bitcoin in the same way, and a hash war against Bitcoin. So they would need a lot, wouldn't they? They need a lot of miner. They need to a whole nother level, right? I mean,
yeah.
All right.
It's just, I mean, there's no the game theory economic incentives of Bitcoin are so strong that Craig knows that it would be incredibly unprofitable and wasteful for him to try and attack Bitcoin and at most maybe rewrite a block or two or something. It would be ludicrous to spend that much capital on such a futile attack. But nonetheless, he tried his best in this little fork or whatever. I think something that might hint at the fact he realizes how terrible his efforts are is this whole Satoshi Twitter account thing that went down yesterday and the day before, where the handle at Satoshi on Twitter became wildly active recently and garnered about 10,500 followers or something in a very short period of time, and then started tweeting things that like were very suspicious about Bitcoin, and then it got more specific to SegWit and all this. And then some of the punctuation from that account gave away that it was almost certainly Craig Wright using that account. But like resorting to that sort of petty Twitter impersonation scheme might signal that Craig sort of knows he's sort of like there's nothing really left for him in this space. Like he has no reputation. He has a lot of money. He's sort of done now and sort of just a footnote in Bitcoin's history at this point.
It's very interesting. You say he has a lot of money. Calvin has a lot of money. I don't know. I don't know if fake Satoshi has a lot of money. I mean, I think that I don't know if any word that's ever come out of the mouth of fake Satoshi is true, to tell you the truth. It seems like it might be that extreme. Yeah. so I mean,
he's Craig Wright is the Donald Trump of Bitcoin, you could say.
It's full of bluster. They're both guys full of bluster, to say the least. All right, pound that like button, people. Well, again, I think what happened this week is there were a lot of people. If Ripple is the number 2 crypto on CoinMarketCap, there are a lot of people out there that'll believe anything, and there are a lot of people this week that believe but that got panicked, that went into a panic because of this, and maybe thought that this SV will be the next Bitcoin. I mean, I can't understand these illogical minds. I mean, I'm having people tell me during that Trace Mayer interview, like, holding, that's a racket. What's up with this holding? You guys are just telling people to hold. People don't understand savings anymore. It's incredible. Yeah. But for some reason they don't.
I mean, they don't have to really. Savings is almost antithetical to a fiat money culture because your money is constantly losing value. So Murad and Joe Weisenthal from Bloomberg were arguing about this very thing on Twitter yesterday about whether or not you should be able to park your money somewhere and just have it sustain its value. And that's why savings are antithetical to a fiat culture, because you should be able to take your money and just park it and have the value stay stable. But the more money you print, the more the supply gets diluted and the more your purchasing power falls. So it's, yeah, savings are on, not enough people save. And part of it is because of the monetary regime we're living under.
Well, again, people are addicted to spending. They're like, your coin's useless because it's not being spent right now. We want something that can be spent. And that's why they got into Ripple or Bcash or whatever. And I don't know. Yeah, people are stuck in the fiat culture, and they've come to crypto for some reason. But I mean, whatever. This is where the big boys play. Everybody is welcome. There's going to be all sorts of distractions. If people don't want to learn for themselves, they'll learn the hard way with playing around. People are welcome to diversify for the sake of diversification. Now, speaking. And I do not agree with that at all. I'm a Bitcoin guy, strong hand, pound that like button. But speaking about diversification and altcoins and the big, there's this shark. What's this guy called? The shark pool. The shark pool. And I link to it below so everyone can see the latest tweet by this shark guy. And he says, and by the way, some of the Bcash people like this. Fake Satoshi, I think, mentioned it. And this shark guy also calls Bcash Bitcoin, which is, I think that's very confusing to a lot of people. But he says, shark alert, alts who dare bear the Bitcoin name have attracted the attention of sharks. Users of B Gold, B Diamond, B Private, be interest, be advised. These chains are unsafe and he spelled seize, but he meant will cease to exist. Exchanges can contact us to reduce avoidable costs. So this person, and I don't know if this is a bunch of bluster, is threatening to shut down these altcoins. Now, again, I never tell people to buy altcoins. I say to hold on to Bitcoin, get your free crypto dividends when these friendly forks split off, because all the ones he mentioned were friendly forks. That's what I meant to say about Bcash was an unfriendly fork, as you went into great detail to describe. But B Gold, they weren't there to destroy or take over the Bitcoin name or anything like that. So now this Bcash fan wants to go out and create a situation where he hunts down every single altcoin and destroys them. And I have been saying for a little while now that this destruction mentality is just not a good one. You don't have to like altcoins, but you don't have to go out and destroy them, and you can just ignore them and just let them be. They're really not. If you believe in your coin, like again, this person is a Bcash fan, so maybe he's insecure. That's why he's got to go after the other coins. Me being a Bitcoin guy, a real Bitcoin guy, let there be a million altcoins and let them use the Bitcoin name if they want to. I'm not threatened. I'm not threatened at all. I believe in productivity over destruction, and destruction turns a lot of people off from the space. Institutional investors want to get into something, that's stable and normal and doesn't have wars. I mean, they want money. They don't want wars, that the technical wars they don't understand. So I gave my opinion on that. What's your opinion on this shark pool stuff?
Yeah, I agree with you a lot more than most maximalists that destruction in the space and just sort of like trying to attack other people's projects instead of focusing on what you're building turns a lot of people off. I'm way more open to just like, if you want to build something, like fine, fork it or launch a new blockchain, whatever. But when you start like with Bcash, like doing shady things with your branding and promises and hyping up your project, that's getting into rough territory. But yeah, like if you want to fork Bitcoin, go for it. I don't care. I'm pretty indifferent about all the forks mentioned in the Shark Pool tweet. But I mean, like at the same time, it's kind of also the other side of the coin in this space. That like if you launch a chain, someone out there is like probably going to attack it and test whether or not your project is, excuse me, worth anything. And that's all that's going on right here with Shark Pool, as far as I can tell. So it's something that, I mean, I wouldn't do personally, but if you want to launch a coin, this is probably going to happen. And I don't think there's anything like ethically or morally wrong with Shark Pool, I guess. It's just a matter of optics, maybe.
Well, it's I had a guest, Money Trig, said if it can be done, it will be done in this space. And so again, I guess maybe what if this?
I'm interested to see how it plays out. I guess whether or not these like coins actually do crash, but I mean, it's never a nice thing to go knock down somebody's block tower or something like that. So
yeah, I mean, Ronald McDonald doesn't go around burning down Burger Kings and stuff. I mean, it's just it's that kind of. But again, for the Bitcoin, for the people who truly love Bitcoin out there, if you get behind this Shark Pool thing, I just want to say, Shark Pool dude is a Bcash fan. So you're kind of you're supporting.
He can't spell, so
yeah. He's clearly not a native English speaker, but that's his personal business. And yeah. So he's talking about destroying altcoins when he really is a supporter of an altcoin. So you'd be kind of hypocritical to get behind that if you are a Bitcoin maximalist, that specific thing. And again, if you are a person creating a coin, beware of. I guess if it can be done, it will be done in this space, and that's an unfortunate idea. I believe there is a psychology in this space, by the way, and that if people do get fixated on negative things, it can slow down the progress, and it can create a vibe where outsiders don't want to join, and it's just a short-term blip. But why even deal with short-term blips is what I say. I'm a positive guy, as you know. So I try to keep it. I encourage productivity, but when I hear about negative stories like this, I will talk about them, but say that I think it's if it can be done, it will be done. That's one way of taking it. But people try to be productive instead of be destructive. That's my advice. And don't get behind a Bcash project if you're a Bitcoin person.
No, I agree. Just build something. You don't have to try and tear down what somebody else is building. Just live and let live.
But here's another way of looking at it too. I mean, there's all sorts of asset classes in the world. Okay, there's gold, there's bonds, there's stocks. They don't have wars in gold. Okay, they don't have. I mean, so like if you're a 65-year-old
gold miners. Gold miners don't go around like burning silver mines and stuff like that.
Exactly. So when a 65-year-old woman hears about this and she tells her financial advisor to invest, and he says, well, there was just this big war in the number 4 crypto, she'll be like, what the heck? Just buy me some gold, dude, or buy me some stocks and bonds. So, I mean, these wars don't lead to mass adoption. How about that? I think we can agree on that. Yes. they lead to definitely some confusion. But again, for those of us who do understand what's going on, the whole Bcash situation is very, very minor, and you can support a Bstash, the third rail there, and that'll really bother. If you don't like ABC or SV, that'll really get them riled up. And again, if you troll for the heck of trolling, that's a waste of time too, people. But some people do like to do that. So there's your option if you want to be a little trolly. Go the Bstash route. But again, people, remember, I'm not endorsing any of these forks. You get them for free, then do what you want. But just Bitcoin, it's the rock, and it's funny, So now we got a BSV, whatever you want to call it. Yeah, it's like the most famous of all the grandchildren of Bitcoin right now. But I don't think it'll have a long shelf life. I mean, who is going to buy it? I would assume that Calvin will be the buyer of last resort on every single exchange that will sell B. So if you somehow have BSV, just sell it because Calvin's going to buy it. But after a while, I think he'll just have all of it. I don't know why anyone would want that. So. Those are my thoughts. Anything that we left out today you want to bring up, Zach?
I mean, I can't say it enough. And every time I'm on Adam's show or listen to it live, always remember, hold that corn. Strong hands, don't sell that Bitcoin. It's always the most important takeaway. And like Adam was just saying, the added bonus of if you do hold that Bitcoin and keep those strong hands tight, that you'll get free forks like this. You can just dump it to other people for their Bitcoin, and they'll just give it to you. So easy way to get more Bitcoin. If you hold yours, it'll just magically create more.
Yeah, it is amazing. If there are people out there that have been holders since before August of last year, and they were kind of freaked out when the fork happened, and they got their Bcash and they just never did anything with it. So now they have SV also, and eventually they're going to have to do something with it. it's just amazing that you are going to be able to turn something like SV into Bitcoin. I mean, that's amazing. That's amazing that someone, Calvin, will give you Bitcoin for SV. I mean, it's like, what a world we live in. I mean, the people are willing, because it's nonsense. It really is. It really is nonsense. So hey, go again. Don't do anything foolish, people, and like put your private key into something that says it's going to give you free SV, or be careful about that. Know what you're doing. Watch the Trace Mayer video. It's very inspirational for those who might be getting weak hands. There were people who told me, they're like, yeah, I almost sold this week when it went down in fiat value. I'm like, you don't. It's just like,
why?
Yes, why now? Well, exactly. Sell low. Sell what's the sell? But again, it's the psychology. It's just, there are different things that happen that freak people out in different ways, and that's why I do this show, so you don't get freaked out at all. You keep that strong hand. All right, dudes. That's it. Zach,
strong hand.
Strong hand, dude. Strong hand. Pound that like me. Zach, thank you for being on the show tonight. Everybody, remember to subscribe to the channel, like this video, share this video, pound that like button. I'm Adam Meister, Bitcoin Meister, Disrupt Meister. DisruptMeister.com. You'll see all the old shows that I've been talking about. See you guys later. Bye-bye.